Now, it is estimated that 135 billion tons of carbon have been emitted into the atmosphere over the course of human history due to agricultural practices that remove carbon from the soil. According to the United Nations, for a livable climate, net zero commitments must be backed by credible action. In South Africa, some farmers are already making bold steps in this direction by using cleaner farming methods that reduce emissions.
Change isn't a challenge for tomorrow, it's an imperative for today, solved only through a global integration of will and skill. In 2022, the world leaders gathered in Egypt to discuss the way forward to a clean world. The emphasis was on food, health, and water security.
There is consensus from across the board that just transitions must be just, and they must also be inclusive, which is particularly important for developing economic countries, which are the worst affected.
Danny Bester has been farming in Mpumalanga his whole life. But as years went by, he began to notice that his land was becoming less productive and the quality of crops was decreasing. With the increasing pressure to reduce carbon emissions, he knew he needed to make a change that would ultimately lead to adopting new farming approach.
You know, with the climate that's changing every season, you know, we're here in South Africa, we are really prone to get, you know, midsummer droughts, and that really affects the crops in a bad way. So a few years ago, we just decided, you know, we should conserve the water that we're getting, the rainfall, and, you know, just try to farm like nature is intended to be, and try and regenerate the soils that was, I don't want to say destroyed over the years, but it degraded over the years due to, you know, too much tillage and practices that wasn't maybe too sound for the way that it should be.
His farming style has a fancy name, regenerative agriculture. But it's a simple idea that improves crops yields and turns farmland and pastures into carbon sinks.
There's even more openings, so we're getting more productive by using less damaging, you know, inputs and high carbon emission inputs, and by now reducing, you know, you're planting cover crops and, you know, catching carbon from the atmosphere and sequestering that into the soil. That is how we are minimizing our carbon footprint.
The worms do the work of oxygenation that machines do elsewhere, while the untilled land sheds soil, retain moisture, and nutrients and weeds are kept under control. Through these natural climate solutions, food systems can contribute up to 37% of climate mitigation needed to reach 2030 climate.
So for us as a farmer, we know we have a very important role to play, and therefore our contribution to take away these carbon gases and stuff like that is also important.
Bester's techniques are rare in South Africa, which has the most industrialized farms on the continent, with most of them using large-scale monoculture farming reliant on chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Bester's techniques seem to be the way to go, and his neighbors are also catching on. Bongani Siziba for News Central TV, Mpumalanga.